Mew VMAX deck this weekend. And disruption can always be tough. So that'll be kind of the story. We'll see.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the item lock disruption winning out or the shuffle disruption winning out in this one?
Absolutely, but you've been explaining our players. Let's go down to the table and actually give an introduction to them, check out their achievements as well, and of course, their decks. So here they are, shuffling up, getting ready for this Masters final match. It all comes down to this chip.
Very much looking forward to it. Gibby over there on the right, and Nathan Ginsburg, the player featured on the left. We just heard in that little chat in the analyst lounge, this is Nathan's first regional championship as a Masters division player. See, a couple of accomplishments from back whenever Nathan played as a senior, but to finally break into the top cut as a master, especially at your first regional, I mean, that is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, still some well accomplished there as a senior too, but I feel like we've been seeing so many very talented seniors this season, and Nathan is just joining those ranks in the finals here with this Mew VMAX deck. Of course, Nathan will be facing off now against Gibson Archer Tang, so we'll see how this is going to play out. But of course, Gibson here introducing here achievements 2020 Dallas Regional Top 4. So not too long ago here, Trip.
Yep, I actually remember that tournament. That was,
really?
I think, the first regionals I casted with the Pokemon Company, and Gibby was playing a Rowlet and Alolan Executor Vileplume deck. That was definitely a wild one to watch play out, but we see him here in the finals now.
Yeah.
He likes to play these unique decks, and he's rocking out with the Vikavolt V Aerodactyl V Star deck.
Yep, here we go. This is what it all comes down to, what everyone has been waiting for in this weekend. And I'm sure these players are ready to go. We already heard the 6.5 there and the 7 confidence levels.
Yes.
And let's get to see these prize cards for both players. So many times this weekend, prize cards have determined so much in these matches. So let's take a look. Ooh, look at this chip. We do have a double turbo, one of the pass, a power tablet, Ultra Ball, a Genocide V, and a Battle VIP pass. All essential cards in Mew, but hopefully multiple copies of them being in the deck won't hurt anything too much. Over here on Gibby's side, I don't see anything too wild. Maybe that Forest Seal Stone, I'm sure there's probably only like a 1 copy in the deck, so maybe that comes into play later, but nothing too bad over on Gibby's side. Couple ball searches, but nothing crazy. So here we go. We're gonna have a super exciting match here.
I love to start the match
there we
off.
go.
Excellent handshake from these players, and here we go. Finals is underway in San Diego.
Masters finals. Everything comes down to this, and we're starting off on Gibby's side here with an energy search, drawing out to that water energy from the deck. Also, Mew being in the active position here for Gibby as well. So that Mysterious Tail is definitely going to help out kicking off this first turn.
Absolutely the best starter for Gibby in his entire deck. This is kind of one of the main engines, that Mysterious Tail ability, allowing you to use it whenever it is active, and you get to look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Any item card you find there, you can place into your hand. Before we do that, though, we're going to see a couple of trekking shoes hike their way through the deck.
Yeah, 2 trekking shoes doesn't hurt at all, that is for sure. And here we go.
Didn't even look at all 6 cards, knew exactly what he wanted. Battle VIP pass slam down.
Yeah, I'm 100% grabbing this one, that's for sure. Radiant Greninja, familiar face that we've seen all throughout this tournament, as well as that Raikou V now coming down on the bench as well. So looking at this matchup, Chip, how do you think Gibby is going to navigate around Mew VMAX?
Yeah, I mean, I think him grabbing Raikou V right away is pretty telling as to what Gibson wants his strategy to be. I think we're going to see Raikou V go take 2 prizes on a Genesect. We'll see Drapion V take 2 or 3 prizes on anything. And then we'll see Ditto V turn into Raikou V once again to take those final 2 prize cards. Gibby does play Cross Switchers, so has that item card ability to gust in addition to playing something like a Melanie in the same turn. So I think, based on the fact that that's what he's decided to bench right off the bat, that's going to be his strategy.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good start if that is the strategy Gibby decides to go with. Now we're over here on Nathan's side of things, starting off with a Genesect V, a little bit of a weird Pokemon to start with, because then you're going to have to kind of get it out of the active if you need be. do
Yeah,
that.
gotta burn a switch card
Exactly.
early.
So one of your resources already down. Quick Ball discarding a power tablet to get that Mew V out. Of course, there is also a power tablet in the prize cards for Nathan, so that's our second power tablet now out of reach unless it's retrieved out of the discard in some way. Double Turbo Energy coming down onto the Mew V on bench.
This hand is pretty awkward for Nathan. He's got Lost City, Lost Vacuum, and then Boss plus Echoing Horn. So what we may see Nathan even do is put the Lost City in play, Lost Vacuum it, and then draw. Oh, can't even draw a card off of that with the. He could draw one card off Genesect. No, he's just going to pass, not even play the hand down.
Oh no, this is what can potentially happen when you play Mew. You can get into some awkward starting turns, and it can be difficult to get out of that. But Gibby, I feel like Gibby all this tournament has just been running away with these matches, and it's looking like he might be doing that same thing right now. Starting off with an Ultra Ball here, discarding an Aerodactyl V for the first card, second card being that Vikavolt V.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if there was a chance we would see the Aerodactyl come into play in this game. In theory, if you go for the Aerodactyl V-Star attack, you can turn off the ability of Nathan to use Genesect throughout the duration of the game, but it might just be too slow of a strategy. So Gibson just wants to go attack, 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 all gas, no stopping here, and we see that Drapion being grabbed instantly.
Well, it's interesting because that's usually the strategy we see from Mew's side. There's just aggression, as well as like disruption for your opponent. But yeah, that's definitely coming from Gibby this time around. As far as the aggression goes, that's for sure. We do see the Melanie come into play, attaching that water energy from the discard pile onto that Drapion V on the bench. And then 3 cards are drawn, going straight into the prize cards here with that Hisuian Heavy Ball, grabbing a Mew out of the prize cards as well. Even more support on the board state here now, and of course those prize cards are going to be shuffled back up and dealt back there with the addition of that Hisuian Heavy Ball.
Yeah, thanks to Nathan having 2 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play and Drapion's Wild Style ability, Gibson only needs 1 more energy in order to attack, and he found Escape Rope off of the draw from the Radiant Greninja. Now can attach an energy and take out the Mew V, leaving Nathan with a lone Genesect in play.
And a dead hand as well.
I think we're going to game 2. I don't think there's anything Nathan can do here. Cannot even hardly play this hand down. Is going to stick it out for a little bit. Boss's orders could stall something active potentially.
I mean, look how much time is left on the clock as well, Chip. This has been such a quick game and an unfortunate time Nathan is having here. But we are going to see the Echoing Horn into the boss play here to get that Vikavolt into the active position on Gibson's side. And that's about all that Nathan can do that turn.
I think there is just 1 switch cart in the deck as a final way to move this Vikavolt V from the active spot. The 1 Escape Rope has been played, so if Gibson can find that 1 copy of Switch Cart, he can move this Vikavolt to the bench, attach an energy to the Drapion, and take the KO on Genesect V to win the game.
Oh my gosh, that would be thrilling to see, Chip. We'll see if it can play out that way. Starting off with an Ultra Ball to get that Luminion V out of the deck here. Of course, if you play it down, you can draw a supporter out. It is going to be that Melanie as the choice from the deck.
Yeah, I think we'll just see this throw an energy onto the active Vikavolt. In worst case scenario, if Gibson can find a lightning energy, he can just go for the Paralyzing Bolt this turn. So you don't have to win this turn. You're still in an incredibly good position. Your opponent is 2 turns away from even attacking since they have to evolve. Oh, and just has the Air Balloon as well. Another way to move to the bench. Energy attached to the Drapion, and that is Gibson taking game 1.
Wow, Chip, congratulations on that game 1 there for Gibson. That was a flawless play. Again, Chip, Gibson just running away with one of these matches, and Nathan just not having a good enough starting hand to recover at all from that. Just unlucky sometimes, unfortunately, but of course, going into a game 2 between these players, and Nathan does get another chance here.
Yep, another chance, and has to win 2 games now and will get to go first. For Nathan, definitely is hoping to find a Battle VIP pass. That was the big thing missing from the opening over on his side of the field. Just did not find that key component to get a bunch of Fusion Strike Pokemon in play in order to draw through the deck. And if you're not using Genesect's Fusion Strike system, you're really just not doing much as a UVMAX player.
Yeah, absolutely. You can draw so many cards on your turn, but you do have to have those Fusion Strike Pokemon in play to do so. So hopefully that's what we see in the initial setup here. Of course, since Nathan did not win that. Nathan gets to opt whether to go first or second in this upcoming match between these two players.
And yep, we'll see how this one plays out. These players will draw these opening hands. I think that first game, even though it didn't go the best for Nathan, we just kind of got a glimpse at Gibson's strategy, what Gibby wants to do in this one. He wants to just be aggressive, attack, 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 turn after turn after turn.
I mean, you gotta account for Raikou V being a pretty good card when your opponent plays so many Pokemon onto the bench. Wow, look at these prize cards,
Triple
Chip.
cross switcher is really awkward for Nathan. Double Melanie as well for Gibson.
Oh my gosh.
And both of these players with a Mew in their prizes, albeit a different one.
That's true, a V and a baby. But here we go, kicking off this next match between these players, Gibson and Nathan. Starting over here on Nathan's side, again with the Genesect V in the active position as the starting Pokemon. Unlucky, but what is lucky here is that Battle VIP pass this time around for Nathan. So at least going to be able to establish more Pokemon onto the board state for this match.
Yeah, try to get something of a board position cobbled together. I think as Nathan, if you can get off a turn 2 attack and take out 2 prize Pokemon after 2 prize Pokemon after 2 prize Pokemon, starting on turn 2, you're going to be in an excellent spot and really put the pressure on Gibson to try to find a way to respond.
Absolutely, this is definitely a race of the prize cards for sure. And of course, over on Gibson's side as well, again, starting with that fantastic Mew. So I didn't get a glimpse at the hand yet, Chip, but already a great start as far as active Pokemon goes. Nathan, of course, searching through the deck to make sure that he analyzes the deck and accounts for all prize cards potentially as well, and just important cards, key cards that you're looking for to be in the deck so that you can kind of formulate your strategy around them. I'm sure probably seeing 3 cross switchers missing from the deck.
Yeah, it's things I think I would definitely be checking as Nathan is Path to the Peak counts, as that is your real answer to the Drapion. You want to see how many Judge, and also if your Roxanne is in the deck, because that is a great way to respond to a Drapion from your opponent. Something that you'll see these players do with the Mew VMAX deck from time to time is if their Mew VMAX gets KO'd by Drapion, they'll put the Path to the Peak in play, cross switcher something on the bench, and then play the Roxanne. Granted, Nathan's probably not going to have that option since the cross switchers are all in the prize cards, but at least knowing that those other resources could be available will allow him to make certain types of plays.
Yeah, especially if you do get access to those cross switchers. Of course, 2 of them being in the middle of the prize cards is also a little bit awkward as well, but at least 1 is on the bottom for Nathan. All right, so we did see that Genesect V and Mew V come down onto the bench, as well as a quick ball discarding the Lost Vacuum as well. So going into the deck for another basic Pokemon, it is going to be that Oricorio.
Yep, Oricorio being grabbed. This will mean that Paralyzing Bolt is going to be dealing really not a lot of damage if that is a strategy that Gibson wants to go for. It kind of cancels out the damage output of the Raikou V. It allows you to have another Fusion Strike Pokemon in play while not really adding to the damage output, since that Lessons in Veil ability does reduce that damage just a little bit.
Yeah, by 20. 20 reduced damage. That definitely makes a difference in a lot of matchups here. So we are going to be seeing that first Genesect V go in with that Fusion Strike system. I think it was 1 card draw off of it.
And it is just a pass over to Gibson, who off this Mysterious Tale has found a Battle VIP pass, but is actually debating going with something else.
Interesting. We shall see here. Nope, it is going to end up being that Battle VIP pass, so going back into the deck. So both players here utilizing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm really interested to see if Gibson would be super aggressive here. He can attack with Drapion on turn 1. Just take 2 prize cards, go ahead and get ahead in the prize race, get an energy onto your Raikou V on the bench.
Yeah.
Start to put on pressure and force Nathan to find a way to respond, and also take a knockout without playing into a potential Roxanne.
That would be wild to see, Chip. Never did I think I would be watching this exact matchup in the finals, but here we are, and it is giving us some interesting results already. Here we go with the speed energy on Gibson's side of things, drawing a couple more cards here. Oh, the boss's orders and a scoop up net.
Oh, this is just mean. Gibson taking the Mew V out of play, and that is a whole other turn that Nathan is going to be behind. Maybe punishing Nathan's decision to not get down a second Mew V.
Wow, yeah, opting for that Oricorio off the quick ball in the last turn. So now Nathan is stuck without a Mew V, just as we saw in the last game. Going back into the deck now with a quick ball, discarding that Cremomatic. So we'll see what Nathan does. Of course, getting out another Mew V, but wow, that is definitely difficult to see. Now Gibson down 2 prize cards already in the second game.
I mean, this is just going to get ugly quickly. I mean, Gibson is guaranteed to take 2 more prizes next turn. Well, that's not true, I should say. Not guaranteed, would need to find a boss onto the Mew. The Drapion does deal 190 damage. Genesect has 190 HP, but that Oricorio in play will reduce by 20. So
yes,
Gibson will either need to find a way to get the Dark Weak Mew into the active or find a way to do a little bit of extra damage, be it the Galarian Zigzagoon or something along those lines.
Ooh, this is getting spicy, Chip. That is for sure.
Stone.
Oh, here we go. Forest Seal Stone unlocks so much here in this deck. So Gibson flipping that V-Star token. That can only happen once per game for both of these players if they do play that Forest Seal Stone. And now being able to get any card out of the deck here, Chip.
I mean, if you just get one cross switcher, if you have the other one, that works. Air Balloon onto the Drapion works as well. It does have 2 retreat. You can move into the Raikou, and if you can find enough Pokemon to put down, you could potentially try to get a knockout here.
Yeah, that is for sure. Gibson, again, playing so quickly throughout all of these matches, really, too. Gibson just knows exactly what he's doing with this deck here, and that's what's going to happen here. Raikou V being put into the active position after the Air Balloon retreat of the Drapion there.
So it's not going to be as strong of a turn as it could have been. Gibson just going to be dealing a little bit of damage, trying to set up things. Nathan does now have to find a way to retreat this Genesect if he wants to start attacking, but we will finally see Mew VMAX come into play.
Finally, indeed, but is it too late, said Chip? But we shall see. But here we go. Double turbo being considered there from Nathan's side because this Genesect needs to come out of the active position. Lost Vacuum here, discarding the, well, I guess lost zoning, the Echoing Horn, taking away that Air Balloon on Gibson's side as well. Both of those cards going into the lost zone. Double turbo energy is going to be applied onto that Genesect as well. And then that gives Nathan the ability to draw a couple more cards here off of that first Fusion Strike system.
And gets into another Genesect, which is really nice. Finds an Ultra Ball, which can find another basic Mew V. And does find that double turbo, like you mentioned. That will now allow him to retreat, so that's 1 less piece he needs. And that Power Tablet is another piece that was needed in order for Technoblast to score a KO thanks to double turbo's damage reduction.
Yep, here we go. Another Fusion Strike system off this benched Genesect here. That is our 3rd Power Tablet down that Nathan played. What else do we have, Chip?
Yeah, this is where things get interesting. Ultra Ball can go get another Mew V, and then the last couple of cards remaining in hand for Nathan are Path to the Peak and Judge. So this is where
here we go.
You see the disruption come into play. Gibson has that Drapion on the bench. It's ready to start attacking and can theoretically easily score a 3-prize knockout onto a Dark Weak Mew VMAX. But if Path to the Peak is in play, that's where Nathan is trying to hope to let that stadium stick so that Gibson cannot respond with an easy knockout. Yeah,
that's exactly what we heard from Nathan earlier. He said, avoid Drapion, get a couple of Path of the Peaks in play here and there, and that's what it's looking like is about to happen here on Nathan's side of things.
I think what Nathan is considering is, does he ever play Judge and then use Fusion Strike system, not put the Path to the Peak in play? It is very risky to do that, though. I think when you have the path, you really need to utilize it because you risk not drawing into it, and now Judge will be played as the path comes into play as well.
All right, so Path to the Peak now in play for both of these players here, shutting down abilities on their Pokemon, only their V Pokemon here. And then the Judge is being activated, so both players shuffling their hands, and they're both going to draw 4 cards.
4 cards apiece. Nathan really just trying to limit Gibson as much as possible. Gibson's going to be crossing his fingers to find the training court here. I don't see it in that initial draw. Let's see what these 4 cards are for Nathan as well. The one cross switcher.
I was about to say the one cross switcher. Oh no, but we do have that pivot option, the hard retreat from the Genesect V to move that Mew VMAX into the active position and take the knockout there on that Raikou V. So Nathan going down 2 prize cards here, 2 prize cards down, and also 2 prize cards down for Gibson too. So tying it up as far as prize cards go. We're back on Gibson's side here, starting off with a mysterious tail to draw out a scoop up net.
And that was the actual only choice off the 6 cards.
Oh,
Everything
really?
else was Pokemon and energy, so had to grab the scoop up net. Can reutilize this Mew potentially, maybe if there's another Mew in hand to work with. I did notice a Melanie, so we could get an energy attachment to the Drapion, at least to draw a card. I don't think this energy's going to be super useful on the Drapion, maybe just for a retreat option later on.
Yeah, but at least we do see some draw off of that Melanie there as well into a Hisuian Heavy Ball.
Choosing to fail it. There was a Mew in those prize cards. Seems like Gibson just didn't think it was going to be super important here. Just chose to fail the Heavy Ball.
All right, and it is put back down there, going into an Ultra Ball here, discarding a Battle VIP Pass and an energy, that fighting energy, bringing out a Vikavolt V now on to the bench. Path to the Peak is still in play.
And I think the tides are starting to swing in Nathan's favor. Gibson came out of the gate firing turn 1 KO on a Mew V, but Nathan has found a way to navigate back into this one. And the fact that he drew the one cross switcher in the deck and then took a cross switcher off the prize cards means he's going to be able to guarantee. Oh, but wait, there is the training court.
Whoa.
The one training court. Gibson was able to find it off the Speed Lightning energy.
Oh my goodness, we also see the scoop up net here. So the Drapion V is put into play.
Man, just as the tides were swinging back for Nathan, Gibson finds the one piece.
Gibson down to only 1 prize card left here. It's now over to Nathan. So lucky with those draws over on Gibson's side. And Nathan now has to respond to this in any way he possibly can.
This is a situation where it might be okay to go for a cross switcher plus find that second path to the peak. I mean, I think most of Nathan's paths to victory involve finding the second copy of Path to the Peak this turn, because otherwise what Gibson can do is just get the Ditto V and then use V transformation to get back the Drapion if it gets knocked out here. This is tough. This is looking really hard for Nathan. It does have the option to find Roxanne potentially this turn. That would be really strong, and can get one more Fusion Strike Pokemon here off this Quick Ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's one in the deck.
Yeah. Oh, true? That is very true.
It looks like a fail.
Ooh, so just shuffling the deck back up, that Quick Ball only used to really discard a card there for Nathan. We did see that Mew VMAX come into play as well this turn, as well as a double Turbo Energy, so Mew's ready to go in the active position. Now it just has to avoid this Drapion at all costs. All right.
This is only going to be a 2-card draw here.
That's tough. Ooh, Cramomatic and a big Parasol off of that draw. Going to use the Cramomatic to discard the big Parasol.
And does hit a heads. This means Nathan can search any card out of his deck. I wonder if Roxanne may be a consideration here, or if Path to the Peak could be more valuable first. Looks like Roxanne is going to be the grab.
Yeah, it's going to be that Roxanne. Is this what it's going to come down to, Chip? What 2 cards limit Gibson's next couple of turns? That is going to be crucial here. That Cramomatic was very great for Nathan to hit a heads on.
At a minimum, Nathan wants to play this Roxanne, but the question becomes, does he find Path to the Peak? I think ideally you would like to put that in play as well here. Turn off the ability of that Ditto V transformation, and also just limit Gibson as much as possible. Turn off the potential of any Luminions, turn off the potential of any Radiant Greninja.
Yep, we are going to see the retreat on the Mew VMAX. We're going to see the cross switcher to just switch back into that Mew VMAX, and the Vikavolt is going to come up on Gibson's side into the Roxanne here. This is huge on Nathan's side of things. What cards are both of these players going to get off of this Roxanne, and will it limit Gibby enough for Nathan to take this game back?
Yeah, really interesting decision to go with the cross switcher. Just wanted to thin those cards out of the deck, I guess, and really hoping to find that one path. Nathan has not used Forest Sealstone quite yet, so that's an additional card that becomes an out. So I think Nathan is just reading, hey, this is going to be pretty easy for me to find a way to get this disruption option. Does also, let's not forget, need to find a way to now boost his damage a little bit, being a power tablet.
There we
and
go.
Look at those first two
power
cards.
tablets as well. Forest Seal Stone.
Okay.
A choice spell. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is a hand. I mean, 6 cards is a lot of cards to be drawing there for Nathan. So here we go. The outs are in the hands.
Yeah, at a minimum, we'll be able to pull off the path this turn. It does, of course, have the choice belt, can hold on to power tablets potentially for later if he so wants.
Yeah, that choice belt is definitely great here. Quick ball going back into the deck, thinning as much as possible, discarding that battle VIP pass there.
Will only be 1 or 2 cards drawn off of the next couple of Genesects, but still wants to try to utilize them as much as possible.
Absolutely. I'm sure thinking about what could possibly come back from Gibby's side as well. You know, I don't think a Ditto V could ever look so scary on Gibby's side.
Well, with the Drapion just on the bench, right?
Yeah, that's too.
It's just there. It's just waiting.
I know. Like, you need to do something here to stop these Pokemon. So Nathan in a very scary position, but actually just going to use the power tablet as well for the turn and go in with another Genesect V, that Fusion Strike system, drawing into even more cards because that power tablet was played.
Yeah, I don't think found anything that can really be thinned unless he wants to play one more power tablet here.
True.
You definitely don't want to play the Lost City, as you can only play 1 stadium card a turn, and you absolutely have to play the Path to the Peak.
Wow, look at that. Discarding, well, I suppose, yeah, discarding another power tablet here to draw into another card. Yep, and here we go. We're going into the deck with that Forest Seal Stone. That V-Star counter is turned over, and the Path to the Peak is coming into play here on Nathan's side to shut down those abilities, and especially that Drapion V over on Gibson's side of the board. Again, Gibson only has 2 cards off of that Roxanne as well.
Only 2 cards to work with, and his 1 stadium that he plays in the deck has already been utilized. So,
ooh, and the
Wild
knockout
Style
there
will not be activated. Nathan taking 2 prize cards. This is going to be a close one, and his 2 prizes were the 2 cross switchers.
The cross switchers sitting right next to each other, side by side in the prize cards. Nathan is going to draw both of them, and now it is back over to Gibby here. Wow. All right, so at least Gibby has a couple of options here. I didn't see what was in the hand, actually, but at least we have the Mysterious Tail from the active Mew.
Going to see plenty of choices here off the Mysterious Tail. Looks like just a Trekking Shoes will be the grab. This will allow him to get through the deck a little bit more. Man, I wonder if Gibson had attached the Speed Lightning. I guess he had to attach it to Vikavolt last turn because he needed to draw cards and found the Training Court, right?
Yes,
but in theory, if he could have put an extra energy on the Drapion last turn, that opens him up to being able to just manually power it up this turn by playing Melanie plus attaching an energy. Just wasn't quite able to make that happen, though. And wow, I cannot believe Nathan has found a way to navigate back into this game after such a strong turn 1 from Gibson.
Absolutely. This has been a wild game so far, Chip. So here we go. We're seeing what is going on here on Gibson's side of things.
Yeah, it looks like we're having a quick little re-sleeve. Maybe a sleeve got ripped in the shuffle process.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Gibson moves fast. I tell you that much. So I would not be surprised by that at all. So re-sleeving, even during a match, is very important there. So here we go.
Trekking Shoes. We'll find another Trekking Shoes.
Another Trekking Shoes.
Finds a card that Gibson does want to keep here. Looks like we have a Lightning Energy, a Water. I think there was a Melanie in hand as well, but with just the Drapion and the Mew in play, this is looking a little awkward. Might be trying to play towards powering up Drapion to attack next turn.
Definitely leaves you vulnerable, though, especially knowing that Nathan does have those cross switchers.
Yeah, well, we know, right?
Yeah, well, we know, yeah, of course. Gibson shouldn't know that, at least, no, unless he has telepathic powers here. But yeah, this is a tough spot for Gibby to be in, and you can tell just by the expression there. Gibby is thinking so hard. At least Gibby is up a game. So if Nathan takes this next one, that's going to bring us to a game 3, which is going to be absolutely super entertaining to watch, Chip. So a little selfishly, that would be cool, but still.
We'll see if Gibby can find a way to do anything in this one. I feel like from his point of view, he doesn't even have a Water Energy in the discard pile to use this Melanie. Can't even play it.
Cannot play that. Oh, so it's going to be a Judge instead here. So both players going to shuffle up and draw into 4 cards.
And that does get rid of the double cross switcher that Nathan had in hand, and the Path to the Peak being in play means Nathan is going to have a hard time responding. He needs to find a counter to his own stadium if he wants to use his Fusion Strike system abilities.
Yeah, it is always awkward when that happens, so for sure, Chip. But wow, here we go. This is a huge judge for both players here. But what Gibby had to do for this turn to get some disruption and some new cards into the hand as well.
I think Gibby's win condition here is next turn finding Melanie and a way to get a water energy in the discard pile, and then an energy for turn. Nathan here, on the other hand, can win this turn. Starting with a Cramomatic, that would be a huge help, and he does hit a heads, allowing him to grab any single card from the deck. An escape rope is being grabbed right away. Can retreat the Mew, play the escape rope, and take out the Drapion. Nathan Ginsburg ties the set. We're going to a Game 3 in the finals.
Here we go. Congratulations there to Nathan on that fantastic play. It looked so impossible in so many of those turns there, but Nathan took it home and brought us to a 1-1 match here. So we're going into a Game 3. Chip, what are you thinking going into this Game 3?
I'm wondering if it was a little greedy from Gibson to slam the Drapion turn 1. It limited his setup. He went in with the Drapion. That was not establishing a Greninja to draw cards. That was not establishing another Mew to start chaining together with Mysterious Tail. He went in, he took the first 2 prize cards, but just did not get set up. His turn 2 was a pretty weak 100 damage onto a Genesect with the Raikou, and Nathan was able to respond, pop off, and found a path to win the game, thanks mostly to Path to the Peak.
That's true. Found the path with the path.
Yes.
That is for sure. But yeah, we will see if Gibson chooses to go a different route this game and establish more of a setup versus Nathan to hopefully bring it home just like we saw in that Game 1. So I feel like this really could go either way, Chip.
It absolutely could, Shelby. Either of these 2 players could come out on top. Can't wait to see what's going to happen in this one. And we'll see if Gibson does choose to go first. I have to imagine he will, though I will say sometimes these Vikavolt decks do like to go second, since you can item lock right away on turn 1. If you go second, play the Melanie, get the 2 energy in play. But these players drawing their opening hands. We're so close to getting this game underway.
This is our final game here, Chip, and we are going to be jumping straight into this match after we check out these prize cards, though.
Nothing too bad for Gibson. A couple Cramomatics. Both lost City for Nathan. That's not a card that's super important in this matchup, so I don't think he'll mind that too terribly much. But a couple Crams could be bad.
Peaks, that'd be way more awkward for sure. But here we go. We are jumping into our final game of this entire regional championships. Nathan Ginsburg versus Gibson Archer Tang. And we are starting over here on Gibson's side. Aerodactyl V being the starting Pokemon in the active position here for Gibson this time around. Also starting with an energy search as well to search out that water energy from the deck.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Aerodactyl V-Star is a card that is in this deck for the Lugia V-Star matchup. We haven't seen it yet in this game so far in the finals, but in theory, if you get a turn 2 Ancient Star and Nathan is unable to one-hit KO the Aerodactyl V-Star, you know, you could lock those abilities for the rest of the game. Now, the problem with that is it involves you attacking on turn 2 with Aerodactyl. You lock those Genesects, but if Nathan just has the energy plus the Mew VMAX and a couple of damage modifiers in hand, he could one-hit KO the V-Star, and that basically erases an entire turn.
Yeah, that is definitely a risky strategy potentially there for Gibson. So we shall see. Of course, you don't really have a choice sometimes of what you start with if you only have one active Pokemon in your hand in the starting hand. So that is just going to be the starting Pokemon here for Gibson. But let's see what else he can do to line up the board state for this turn.
Yep, I think the other choice to start in the hand was the Ditto V, which doesn't feel like a great card to put in play right away. And yeah, Gibson's definitely not going for the Aerodactyl strat as we see it hit the discard pile off the trekking shoes.
Yep, Aerodactyl V-Star getting put straight into that discard and going in with an Ultra Ball as well, discarding a Mew and a Water Energy. Of course, that Water Energy being in the discard pile is great for Gibson to utilize Melanie later on in the match. Raikou V is going to be drawn out as well and placed onto the bench.
Yep, and I think here Gibson is going to want to try to employ the same strategy as he did in Game 1. Establish the Raikou and the Drapion as your first 2 attackers, and then you have Ditto V to try to close things out later on.
Here we go. We saw the hard retreat, so that energy going into the discard pile as well off of that Aerodactyl V straight into the Mew Mysterious Tail. Is it going to grab that air balloon? Nope, it's going to be an escape rope here on Gibson's side.
Yeah, this can be a nice way to play around Nathan potentially pushing Oricorio next turn, put a 1-prizer in the active spot, so you force your opponent to find cross switchers or boss's orders. But now, if Gibson can have the escape rope in hand next turn, it kind of mitigates that a little bit.
Absolutely. This first turn is so important here for Gibson. Getting that initial setup is what you need to be able to take this game in your direction, but we are going to be over here on Nathan's side of things now. That's Gibson's first turn, and here we go.
Yeah, I don't see any Battle VIP pass, but there is plenty of ways to thin this hand down and a couple of basic Pokemon, so I think we'll see a pretty decent turn.
Yeah, it's always nice when you start with an Ultra Ball because hopefully you have a couple cards you can just discard to it and also be able to draw a lot more off of a Fusion Strike system. So here we go. It is going to be a Power Tablet discarded to the Ultra Ball. Difficult decisions as well, though, because you only have so many cards you can discard, so you really have to pick and choose here with such a thin hand. What is going to be most valuable to me and what do I need to keep it in this hand?
Having to choose between Roxanne, Ultra Ball, and the Echoing Horn. Echoing Horn can be a really nice way to try to close the game out if Gibson was to try to limit the amount of 2-prize Pokemon that he put into play, so I understand wanting to hang on to that.
Yeah.
Roxanne can be so strong and such a good way to respond to Drapion, though. I really feel like that's a card that you could have tried to hang on to, but I understand if Nathan just wants to try to burn the hand completely, even play that Echoing Horn this turn, put that Zapdos V that's pretty useless onto the bench and try to clog Gibson's bench up just a little bit so you can also draw one more card yourself.
Yep, absolutely. So that single copy of Roxanne is going to be put into the discard
Yeah, and I don't
pile.
see a Pal Pad,
Yeah, there's no Pal Pad. I don't think there's there's no Silene or anything either, so Nathan not having the recovery that some Mew decks do have from the discard pile. But here we go. We're progressing through this turn. We're down 1 Fusion Strike system. Still some options to go here and some abilities to discard even more cards here. And that's exactly what Nathan's going to be doing with this Ultra Ball. Some more difficult decisions to have to pick and choose what's going to be discarded here from the hand.
Yeah, Nathan's debating between getting rid of a Switch card, which you only have a few of, and an Ultra Ball. And I really understand wanting to keep the Ultra Ball because that is your main way to find Mew VMAX on the next turn. And especially since you've already used one Ultra Ball, you're now playing another one, meaning the one in your hand is one of your last remaining 2. So I understand wanting to keep it because that is going to be how you find your main attacker, your only attacker really on the next turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. We're going to see that Ultra Ball bring out a Mew V into the hand, at least. Will it be played, though, is the question. And that is going to be played down, of course, because it does help Nathan draw even more cards into the hand from this Fusion Strike system.
Does find a Battle VIP pass. Would have been nice earlier in the turn, as it would have let you, maybe have less painful decisions on your Ultra Balls. But it is still Nathan's first turn. Could use it to get maybe the 3rd Genesect into play.
Yeah, absolutely. So still has some utility. After the first turn, of course, it does just kind of become discard fodder for your deck. So we'll see what Nathan chooses to do for the rest of this turn. Mew V, of course, having that free retreat option is nice. Gonna just retreat into a Genesect V, though, and pass it back over to Gibson.
And this is a big opening. If Gibson can find a way to take this knockout, be it either with the Raikou V or Drapion even alongside the Galarian Zigzagoon to add a little bit of extra damage, that's going to put him ahead. He will be the first one to take a KO and the first one to initiate the prize race, so to say.
Yep, Chip, and once that prize race gets rolling, things definitely intensify here in our Masters final match as well. So here we go, Gibson kicking off the turn here with that mysterious tail to get another card into the hand, going in with the trekking shoes as well. One thing I've noticed about this deck, Chip, is it seems like pretty consistent as far as drawing goes.
It definitely is. It's pretty powerful. You got those trekking shoes to get through the deck. You've got the Mew to chain together. And also, something we haven't seen yet that is normally really good in this deck is the Radiant Greninja. It just has not had an opportunity to come down, it seems like. And Gibson has, I mean, that's usually a way that it helps you fuel your Melanies. There's so many uses for that card.
Partnered with the training court, too. There's some really cool plays as well. So much draw support off of that. But we are going to see the scoop up net to scoop up that Mew, and then an escape rope. Now, of course, Nathan chooses first who to promote into the active position, and then Gibby will get to choose, of course, probably that Mew to get another Mysterious Tail off of it this turn. So Nathan having to decide what to promote here.
Yeah, and choosing to send up the Genesect, I think I really would have liked to have seen Nathan go with the Oricorio, force Gibson to take the 1 prize early on. It eliminates the 2-2-2 line.
True.
Although it's pretty easy to knock out Mew VMAX in theory with the Drapion, you at least have some ways to try to get around it.
Absolutely. So that Mew is going to come up into the active position, into another Mysterious Tail, and straight into an Ultra Ball, I believe that was.
It's a Quick Ball getting rid of the Ultra Ball.
Yes, Quick Ball discarding the Ultra Ball to get that Luminion to chain into that Melanie here, Chip. A lot of things just happened there, but we are tracking it now. So Luminion also has been such an important card in Gibby's deck throughout this weekend. I mean, that Melanie is just so important in this matchup.
Vital part of this deck.
Absolutely. Because now it's going to enable Gibby to put that Water Energy onto that Raikou V and draw into 3 more cards as well. Oh, here we go. The ping from the Galarian Zigzagoon. That's what we needed to see.
Gibson needed that extra damage here because with 9 Pokemon total on the bench and the base 20 from the Raikou V, you're dealing 200 damage. Genesect has 190 hit points, but it's taking 20 less damage from the Oricorio. So you're actually only dealing 180. The Galarian Zigzagoon gives you that extra damage counter that you need. It's dealing exactly 180 here in order to pick up the KO.
Here we go, Gibson taking that knockout, going down 2 prize cards here. Nathan had made that tough decision to send that Genesect up, but opted to do so, and now Gibson is down 2 prize cards.
Nathan has lost Vacuum in hand. That could be a great card to try to just annoy Gibson a little bit, right? Get rid of that air balloon, make things a little more tricky, a little more awkward. Power Tablet being played in order to hopefully respond to this Raikou. Does need to find a Mew VMAX and also needing to find a double Turbo Energy.
That Ultra Ball can definitely do it for sure. That is what was saved throughout the hand for Nathan this entire game and is definitely coming into play here for sure.
Yep, and that Power Tablet has been played. I also think Nathan did already use that Ultra Ball, so now needs to find the Mew. Yeah, used it to get Genesect, so wanted to value the draw power just a little bit, needing now to find that piece.
Ooh, that is tough.
That is a really awkward hand.
Not the draws that you want to see at all.
I think it's play Power Tablet, draw 1 more card, hoping for like a Judge or something like that. Quick Ball, okay, works out, that's fine, can get another Genesect.
Yeah, that is good because we do need to see some more cards here for Nathan. It's just been a really awkward draws here so far, and you need to dwindle your hand down to get some more cards into the hand. So Quick Ball is definitely going to help out a little bit here, but this next draw off of the next Genesect is going to be so important.
It's going to be, I think, 2 cards here, and Nathan's needing to find a Mew VMAX and a double Turbo Energy. Could, of course, also find something like Judge in order to shuffle the hand in, draw 4 cards, try to reset a little bit. Actually, looks like maybe 3 cards being drawn. Yeah, 3 cards off this incoming Genesect.
All right, here we go. This is it, Fusion Strike system for 3.
Cramomatic's not a bad start.
And the big Parasol.
And the Judge, okay.
Oh, and the Judge.
If Nathan hits a Heads on the Cramomatic, plays Judge, and finds whatever other piece, that would be really strong, but it's a Tails. I mean, we've seen nothing but heads so far from Nathan, so it's got to cancel out at some point. I was actually watching Nathan play his top 4 match against Grant Shin's Arceus Duraludon, and Nathan flipped a lot of heads in that game as well, so maybe it's running out just a little bit here in the finals.
Yeah, absolutely, but we are going to see this Judge. This is, again, critical draws here for Nathan because this turn right here is so crucial in the progression of this game. So we're going to see 4 cards for both of these players being drawn after the hands are being shuffled. So everything that was in Gibson's hand as well is now going shuffled back into the deck.
4 cards to come for Nathan, really needing to find Mew VMAX and double Turbo Energy. If he's unable to respond and KO this Raikou, I think Gibson is maybe just going to get a little too far ahead, and I don't think I see it. There is the Forest Seal Stone, but did not draw into one of the other 2 pieces.
Yep, absolutely. So not able to piece together what was needed, just too many awkward draws off of those fusion strike systems. That's just the way it happens sometimes too, Chip. You can have a lot of consistency, you can draw a lot of cards, but if they're the wrong cards, that's not going to help you.
Now anything Nathan sends up is going to be KO'd by this
Ooh.
Raikou. You can send up the Genesect, it's going to be KO'd. You can send up an Oricorio, it only gives up one prize, but then Gibson just needs to attack with a Drapion into a Mew VMAX at some point to win this game.
Raikou carrying so much weight so far in this matchup here for Gibby. The Forest Seal Stone is going to come down here for Nathan.
There is a collapsed stadium in hand. I don't think he's got enough cards. In theory, if there was the 4th Genesect in the deck, something that Nathan could do would be put Collapsed Stadium down, Lost Vacuum the Collapsed Stadium, and then Quick Ball for the other Genesect to draw more cards here, but I just don't think he's quite got enough cards to pull that off.
Yep, absolutely. So we are going to see that Collapsed Stadium is going to come into play, though, here on Nathan's side, and it's just going to be a pass back over to Gibson.
That is going to make it a little harder for Gibson to respond. It's going to make it harder for him to get the knockout, as that has removed 2 basic Pokemon from play. So now Gibson's only going to be dealing 180 base damage with the Raikou. Of course, minus 20. Or it actually just cancels out, right, with the Oricorio. So
True.
Yeah, it effectively becomes minus 20, so it'll be 160, right?
Yep. I believe so, but we are going to see a speed lightning energy over on Gibson's side. Yeah, I think that math checks out.
Yeah, it's 160, yeah.
You are good to go there. So another energy being put down for some more draw support as well on Gibson's side. But yeah, that Raikou is definitely limited here now. You know, your opponent plays so many Pokemon, but now Pokemon on both sides of the field have been taken out of play. So Raikou is only limited to how many Pokemon are on both of these players' benches.
Looks like an Ultra Ball is being played, Drapion being grabbed. If Gibson has a Scoop Up Net in hand, he could clear off a bench spot and get the Radiant Greninja out of play potentially.
Ooh, or just bump the
replace the stadium. Yeah, that works too.
Here we go. Training Court now being put into play on Gibson's side. So bumping that Collapsed Stadium, wasn't in that position very long. And here we go, the Galarian Zigzagoon as well to ping on that Genesect V on the bench. Forest Seal Stone being flipped here. Gibson searching the deck for any card he wants, and that's going to be the cross switcher.
And he wants to KO the Genesect V here. He wants to take that Forest Seal Stone out of play, limit Nathan's options as much as possible, make it as hard as possible for him to respond to this 2-prize KO. Cross switcher bringing that Genesect up and also getting to utilize a Mysterious Tail from the Mew.
Yep, aggression, aggression, aggression here on Gibson's side. Losing this Forest Seal Stone is going to be huge here for Nathan. But, you know, when you're playing Mew, you have to play down cards to be able to draw more cards. So that's the unfortunate part of things sometimes. We are going to see a Mysterious Tail here as well from Gibson, grabbing an Ultra Ball.
So many cards being drawn this turn. Concealed cards, Melanie, now Ultra Ball thinning some cards out of the deck. Gibson is really just going to have access to so many potential options, and Ditto V being pulled out of the deck off this Ultra Ball.
Absolutely. Consistency, consistency here. Even Luminion V has a water energy attached as well now.
So we'll probably just be seeing this Mew retreat into the Raikou. I'm not sure if Fleet-Footed has been used or not this turn. Maybe used it earlier on in the turn. And yeah, we'll be taking the knockout. Lightning Rondo, Gibson, Archer, Tang going to just 2 prize cards remaining in the finals. And Nathan is left trying to find a way to respond.
Absolutely. This is coming down to the wire here, Chip. Let's see if Nathan can piece something together in this crucial turn. Otherwise, Gibson might be our winner here, which would be wild. But here we go. It is not over just yet. Nathan still has cards in hand and cards to be played here. Training Court is the active stadium as well. Of course, both of these players can utilize it if they have energy in their discard. Oricorio still in play here. We do have one Genesect V, down so much of that draw, at least from the Genesects, unfortunately for Nathan here.
Yeah.
But here we go. At least we're going to see this one Fusion Strike system.
Yeah, I didn't see the other Genesect in there, and these 3 cards don't find a Mew VMAX. They don't find an energy. If Nathan just passes, I don't think there's going to be much he is able to do to prevent Gibson from taking it on this next turn. Gibson has such a large hand size. All he would need is a scoop up net and a way to bench the Drapion that we know is sitting in his hand.
Yep, Nathan gonna take a glance here at the discard pile for Gibson. That is a thick discard pile for sure.
We're seeing him read the Aerodactyl V-Star.
Just reading it real quick, yeah.
Get a little light reading in here in the finals.
Yes, exactly. Nathan looking through that discard pile and seeing, what can I do in this turn? Choice Belt is going to come down onto that Mew V.
Nathan does have Path to the Peak. If he puts that in play, this is actually Gibson's last stadium, so that would mean that the Drapion would not be able to attack, would not be able to use its wild style ability.
Has to be powered up manually at the very least here.
See the draw for turn, and there is the scoop up net, the Drapion, and the boss's orders. Gibson had the combo necessary to clear a bench spot, put down that attacker, and Gibson wins the San Diego Regional Championships.
Wow, Chip, congratulations here to Gibson Archer Tang. Incredible performance all throughout this tournament, and now the crowning regional champion of San Diego here in our Masters division.
What an exciting finals match. Very well played by Nathan, our finalist, getting second place at his first regional championship as a Master, something he should be very, very proud of, an absolutely incredible accomplishment. But this day is all about Gibby Archer Tang becoming a regional champion. What an incredible accomplishment. What a finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Gibby's now going to be able to rock that Pikachu medal, Chip.
Wear it home on the flight. You better do it, Gibby.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw the Aerodactyl concoction deck, I suppose you could call it, take a second place, and now it is taking the win here in San Diego. Is that what you expected here, Chip?
Definitely not. I mean, this is a deck that was on people's radar after Alex Kreckler got second